Welcome to the June 7th GSM Leadership Session. We are going to continue with the Energy Bus, which is the book that we started on the last session. So we're going to do a quick review of that. You remember the subtitle to the book was The 10 Rules to Fuel Your Life, Work, and Team with Positive Energy. So I think we're going to get right back into the review. If you remember, a couple of things real quick about the energy bus. First is everything happens for a reason. The good thing is you get to choose how to respond. Ultimately, this is about the only thing we have control over is when we find ourselves in different circumstances and different situations, is we get to choose how to respond. Now, the first of the 10 rules from the energy bus, rule number one, you're the driver of your bus. Repeat that. You are the driver of your bus. So again, you're in control of what's going on and what you are doing with the bus. The vision is up to you and no one else. So you might, in order to get the bus to the right spot, you have to have a vision, and that vision is up to you and no one else. And then we finished that first session with asking everyone to review and answer these questions. My vision for my life, including my health, is. My vision for my work, career, job, and team is. My vision for my relationship and family is. Now, looking back, I think we had a couple of people respond to that. I think we asked if you could send that out to your leader, which we thought was a good idea, but I don't think we had a couple people respond. For those that didn't respond, I hope you at least took the time to answer those questions. Those questions can actually lead and clarify a lot of different things for you, both personally and professionally. So, because we're going to come back to this before this session is over. And then the final piece is it's all about the positive energy. Everything we do is affected by our attitude and our outlook. And from an energy bus perspective and John Gordon's perspective, specifically, it's all about the positive energy. So that's a quick review of the first session. So we're going to jump right into this session, and we're going to start with rule number 2, which states desire, vision, and focus move your bus in the right direction. Desire, vision, and focus move your bus in the right direction. So again, it's all about focus. The more we focus on something, the more we think about something, the more it shows up in our lives. A good example that I can think of is, have you ever bought a new car, and as soon as you get in that car and are driving it for the first time, all of a sudden you see that same model of car everywhere? That's an interesting thing that occurs. And even most of the time, you can even seem to see the same color everywhere, where before you didn't really notice the model of that car very often. Something that relates to this is trying to stop thinking about what you don't want and start focusing your energy on your vision and what you do want. If you do it enough, it can be it's amazing what can happen. If you build it in your mind, focus on seeing it, and take action, the success will come. And that sounds pretty simple. I mean, it's not quite that simple, but the more you focus on it and the action part, okay, that's something that this isn't some scenario where we can just sit around and think about something and guess what, it's going to happen. You have to have the vision for it, imagine what it is, focus on it, and then but you have to take action. Successes are going to come if you just think about it. You do have to take some action related to that. All right, let's go into rule number 3. You're going to back up. Rule number 3, fuel your ride with positive energy. Fuel your ride with positive energy. Again, it's all about positive energy. So rule number 2 was about desire, vision, and focus, and that'll help you turn the bus in the right direction. Again, that kind of tells you where you want to go, but the positive energy is what's necessary to take you where you want to go. So a desire, vision, and focus helps you turn the bus and clears up where you want to go, but without the positive energy, you're not going to get there. So as you're doing this, one thing you have to recall, we've kind of touched on this before, this is kind of what this whole book is about. is how do you respond to the events in your life? This is a critical piece, again. How do we respond to the things that are going on, the things that happen in our lives? I love this little formula that John Gordon puts in this book. He calls it E plus P equals O. E plus P equals O. So the E stands for the events in your life, so the events that occur in your life. P stands for perception, so how do we perceive those events in your life? And then O stands for outcome. So the events that occur plus our perception of those events equals the outcome. We can't control many of the events in our life, but we can control how we react to those events. Positive energy and positive people create positive results. The negativity needs to be thrown out, let go of, and release. So, as you can see, this is a repeating theme in the book about positive energy, about how we view the world and how we view what happens to us. If you remember, Joy was, no pun intended, but Joy is the name of the bus driver, and she's kind of the one that's facilitating this whole journey for George and what he's experiencing. She's the one trying to really help get him in a better place, in a better direction. So she had a great quote about this point in the book, which states, "Where there is a negative, there is always a positive. Where there is a dark cloud, there is always a sun shining behind it." Now, sometimes when you're in the middle of something that doesn't seem so great, it can be hard to know that there's that sun shining behind that dark cloud, or if you're in the middle of something that seems really negative, there's always a positive. That's a hard concept sometimes. I mean, there are certain things that we have to deal with that frankly are just bad, but we have to. It can be helpful if we can remember, that, so to speak, the sun will come out tomorrow, so to speak. The author mentions a parable in the book. He actually says it's the parable of the two dogs, but it's actually more famous. You can Google this and look it up. You'll find plenty of examples of this story. It's called the parable of the wolves, and it goes like this: there are two wolves always battling inside of us. One wolf is positive, loving, kind, and gentle. The other is angry, mean-spirited, and negative. So the question becomes, which one is going to win the battle? And the answer, of course, is the one that you feed. So think about that. I'd encourage you to look that up, the parable of the two wolves. And it's just a good little story to remind us, again, and it ties right in with what John Gordon consistently talks about, is feeding ourselves with positive energy, positive thoughts, and trying to do the best we can with it. So moving on to rule number 4 is when we start to really get into some more action instead of just concepts here. Rule number 4: invite people on your bus and share your vision for the road ahead. Invite people on your bus and share your vision for the road ahead. So remember, earlier, you're the driver of the bus. So you're driving the bus. As you drive, you want to keep asking people to get on. The worst they can say is no. If you don't ask, they won't know to get on. This kind of goes into being, when you're in leadership, having that vision, you're driving the bus in a certain direction, you've got positive energy to get us to that destination. But the whole point is to bring people with you for lots of different reasons. Number one, you want to have as much impact, positive impact as you can on others. But you also, I have learned that no great accomplishment occurs on their own. I mean, I'm sure there are some exceptions to this historically, but generally speaking, great accomplishment only occurs when there's more than one person involved. So somebody does have to lead, I think, for those great accomplishments typically to occur, but it's almost always a group or more than one individual who is involved to get something great and something good accomplished. However, as the leader, there's something you got to be careful of. You have to be really careful who we let on the bus. So again, tying in with what this whole book is about, this whole concept is about. Negativity is the enemy. The important thing is to know how to deal with the negativity and what to do with it. If you have a large enough team, a large enough group, it's very possible that you're going to run across someone or have to deal with someone who is negative. They don't like the direction we're going. They may think it's dumb. They like the way we've always done things. Whatever the case may be, there could be always situations where you're going to have something, a negative situation, a negative individual that you are going to have to deal with. So going straight to rule number 5, rule number 6, okay? I put both of these on the same page because they are so related. And frankly, I think they are a little difficult. This is really when you get into having to make tough decisions as a leader. And that's, frankly, that's part of being a leader, is you find yourself in situations where you've got to make tough decisions at times. So rule number 5 simply says, don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. Rule number 6, post a sign that says, no energy vampires allowed on your bus. Don't let negativity come into the planning process. So post a sign that says, no energy vampires allowed. So these 2 rules, you just read them. I mean, it can, if you really start to understand them and some of the difficult things that a leader has to make, these take some good reflection, some accountability, take some action, and it takes holding the line, right? It takes holding the line on our standards or your standards, what we're trying to accomplish. You can't let anything get in the way. Some people are going to get on the bus and some won't. So the point here is don't waste your energy on the ones that don't get on. Don't try to make them get on. You can't drive anyone else's bus. You can only drive your bus. And there are people who increase your energy and there are people that drain your energy. Your job is to do your best to eliminate any negativity on your bus, and this includes negative people, no matter who they are. I'm going to repeat that. Your job is to do your best to eliminate any negativity on your bus. And this includes negative people, no matter who they are. Does that sound like fun, having to determine who should or shouldn't stay on the bus and how much attention you should or shouldn't give to someone if they're a potentially negative influence? All right, this is another quote directly from the book that I like, and it kind of sums up this last couple of slides. So you've got to be strong enough to tell people that you will not allow any negativity on your bus. You've got to say this is where we are going. To get there, we need a positive and supportive team. Whoever is negative will be kicked off the bus or left at the station. Yep, I did that. A little awkward silence. I did that on purpose to give you everyone a second to just absorb that one, especially that last sentence. Right? It is a positive, supportive team, and whoever is negative will be kicked off the bus or left at the station. Again, leadership requires hard decisions. Now, there are things we got to do before we get there, right? So you give people a chance to change, and if they don't get it, then you've got to kick them off the bus, or else they will ruin your ride. I got a grammar mistake in there. It should be then instead of the. But you give people a chance to change. If they don't get it, then you've got to kick them off the bus, or else they will ruin your ride. And that means they will ruin it for everybody. The success won't come. The teamwork won't come. It will make it very, very difficult to get to the destination. All right, this is another one straight out of the book. Your positive energy and vision must be greater than anyone and everyone's negativity. Your certainty must be greater than everyone's doubt. I like this quote from the book because it directly talks to the leader. Positive energy, vision, and your certainty of direction and purpose must be greater than the naysayers. You're doing something new, you're doing something hard, you're doing something big, there are most likely always going to be some naysayers. But you've got to be certain, as the leader, you've got to be certain in the direction you're going. You've got to be certain about what you're trying to accomplish. And so what this says is your vision and energy has got to be greater than everyone's negativity, and your certainty of where you're headed must be greater than everyone else's doubt. If you doubt yourself, your team, individuals, or group that you're leading is going to sniff that out. You really need to be able to stay on top of that. This is a good quote, and it's the exact quote from John Gordon that in the book that Joel used in his session a few weeks ago, but it's so powerful, I thought it was worth using again. So this goes back to so many things we talk about here at GSM, but specifically the practice and repetition that's required to learn properly and grow. So we'll just read the quote and leave it up here for a minute. Positive energy is like muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more powerful you become. Repetition is the key. The more you focus on positive energy, the more it becomes your natural state. So lots of reasons why I like this quote. It ties into so many things that we do here, so many things that we talk about, so many things that are required to be good at something, to get better at something. We talk a lot here about training and reinforcement training and then doing it again. It would be nice if we could pick a subject or pick a topic and we could read it once, we could be taught it once, we could learn about it once, and then we're experts at it. That's just not the way it is. If that was the case, we'd never have a callback. We would sell every job. Every job would go perfectly. Every customer interaction would go perfectly. But that's just not the reality that we find ourselves in. So what's required is repetition, even on being positive. Even like John Gordon says here, positive energy is like muscle. You have to work at it to get stronger. You have to work at it to get consistent. You have to be intentional about wanting these certain outcomes and wanting these things to occur. So that's why, again, that repetition is the key and so important. So that's, kind of a shorter session of mine than normal. But we are going to leave with a little bit of homework. We're going to finish the actual information here with that last quote. So we do have some homework. First homework is we're going to go back to the 3 questions from the last session. And, even if you decide you don't want to send it to your team leader or have a discussion about it, I would really, really strongly encourage you to sit down and read through the book, go back to the pages where this was on, and look at these 3 questions. If you need some help kind of understanding what vision is, it's not the easiest concept. At least it wasn't for me for a very long time. The 3 questions are: my vision for my life, including my health, is. My vision for my work, career, job, and team is. My vision for my relationship and family is. What is that vision? What does it look like? If you could look, 10 years from now, you look back to today, has your vision been accomplished? Are the things you're doing each day taking you closer to that vision, or these visions, I should say, or is it, kind of keeping you away from it? Anytime, I think a good question to ask yourself before you get ready to do anything, you get ready to make a decision, you're getting ready to take some action. A good question to ask is what I'm about to do taking me closer, moving me toward these visions I have for my life, my work, my relationships and family, or is it taking me further away from that? So if the answer to that question is it's taking me further away, or you can't answer that it's taking you toward or closer to your vision, then you might want to, it might be a good time to take a step back and really question whether you're actually something you should do or not. Last 2 things. I like this is in something from chapter 12, which is, I think, actually on page 51 in the book, is practice taking a gratitude or thank you walk. I like this concept because it's impossible to be grateful and negative at the same time. I mean, you can try it. I tell you, I've tried it, and it is impossible to have both of those feelings going on at the same time internally. But there's so many things that we can be grateful for, and oftentimes you just start with the small things. Is how you can start having a little better, more consistent, positive energy. But practice taking a gratitude walk. It could be 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Again, there's a good little page, there's a section in the book that kind of describes what George did and how that helped him a little bit. And of course, the last homework is to read chapters 20 through 26, which is basically pages 81 through 120. For the next session, that should be scheduled on June 21st, which will basically take us through roughly 3/4 of the book. So I thank you for your time. You don't hesitate, after you listen to this, don't hesitate to send me, Joel, your leadership, any questions that you might have, any thoughts or ideas about how we can have a better, more positive workplace here at GSM. But again, I appreciate your time greatly, and looking forward to the next session as we move forward through this leadership journey here in 2021. Thank you very much, everybody.